My boyfriend, 31M, is going to a birthday for a girl he used to sleep with, and I, 28F, feel excluded and hurt. Was I wrong to say something? Hi, everyone. I need some perspective because right now I feel completely guilty and like I've done something wrong. I've been with my boyfriend for a year and a few months. We've had some ups and downs, but overall it's been a decent relationship. One thing that's always been a bit weird, though, is that I've never met any of his friends. He's always said he and his friends don't really do couples stuff, that they don't meet each other's partners, that it's just how they are. I didn't love it, but I let it go. Early on when we were dating, he told me about a girl he used to sleep with. They knew each other from university. According to him, it wasn't a relationship, but she wanted it to be one, and he didn't. This was about 6 months before he met me. At the time, I didn't make a big deal about it. It was just part of his past. Fast forward to last night. He told me he's going to one of his friend's birthday parties. He didn't say who. For some reason, I had a gut feeling it might be that girl. I don't even know why. Maybe because he mentioned her before, so I asked him directly if it was her. He said yes. He told me she's got a boyfriend now, and obviously he's with me, so it's all fine. But for me, it didn't feel fine. I told him I felt uncomfortable. Not because I think he's going to cheat at the party, but because this isn't just some random friend. This is someone he slept with who once wanted to be with him. To me, that's not really a normal friendship anymore. And celebrating her birthday feels like a boundary issue. Instead of understanding, he got really defensive. He told me I was being insecure and that I ruin everything. He said no one in his life has ever made him feel as bad as I do. He also said, who gives a fuck, when I tried to explain why it mattered to me. He basically made me feel like I was crazy and pathetic for even bringing it up. I'll admit, I didn't handle it perfectly either. We don't really have sex much, because he has some issues. And I got upset and blurted out something I didn't even mean. I said maybe he's cheating on me, and that's why we don't have sex. I know that was wrong, and I apologized later. I don't actually think he's cheating. I was just hurt and frustrated. After that, he said I'd ruined his night, and maybe he won't even go to the party now. He said I attacked him instead of asking nicely. He told me he didn't want to talk anymore and threatened to block me if I messaged again. By the end of the night, I felt so horrible and guilty that I honestly just wanted to disappear. It felt like the entire blame for the whole situation was dumped on me. Like somehow I was the one who had done something terrible just for saying how I felt. But at the same time, I can't shake the thought that my reaction was understandable. I really don't think I'm an insecure or controlling person. I've never told him who he can or can't see. But I honestly don't think it's normal to still go to a birthday party for someone you slept with who once wanted to date you, especially when your partner clearly feels uncomfortable and you didn't even tell them who it was at first. It also hurts that after more than a year together, I've never met any of his friends. Yet he's going to this party without even thinking about bringing me or asking how I'd feel. It makes me feel like he's embarrassed of me or doesn't see me as part of his world. I know I could have worded things better last night, but I also wish he could have paused for a second and thought, I can see why this would bother her, instead of going straight to calling me insecure and ruining everything. He said this girl is turning 30, and as a big birthday, there will be lots of his friends, which he doesn't meet often, and that's the main reason why he wants to go there. So now I'm here feeling awful, confused, and guilty. Did I overreact? Or is this actually a fair boundary to have? Green Fuzzy Tesla says, babe, you have to know that you aren't wrong. Even if you might be wrong about the exacts, the feels you have are valid. I would not be able to come back for this disrespect. You deserve better. Nuraini13 says, he literally told you, who gives a fuck, when you tried to explain why it matters to you. When people show you who they are the first time, please believe them. Your time, energy, and love are absolutely wasted on this guy. I know it must feel like literal death and scary as hell, but I don't think you'll regret walking away from this kind of disrespect. He's manipulative and emotionally immature. He also has zero respect for your feelings. Please don't stay with someone who makes you feel this way.
AITAH for divorcing my husband over him being sterile. I, 30F, and my husband, 38M, got married 4 years ago and started casually trying to get pregnant after marriage. I've not always wanted to be a mom, but it's something that grew on me when I met my husband and decided I wanted to live a life with him. He, on the other hand, has always known he was going to be a father no matter what, and was very adamant on it, which I honestly didn't care, as it genuinely became something I wanted too. After about 8 months of trying to conceive without success, we smelled something might be wrong. We assumed it was me, since my periods are absurdly out of control, Previous year, I only had 2 periods. When my periods started being irregular, I never got into looking it, since my screening pap smears had always been okay. And I knew there was nothing structurally wrong with me because I had an ultrasound as a teen during a regular checkup with gyno. It was probably just hormonal and couldn't care less in that moment of my life. When we assumed it was me and that I might be infertile, we had a pretty serious talk about our future. We talked about our options, and we knew there was a big chance we ended up needing some sort of assisted reproduction method. I knew what a toll on my body that would be, but I was okay as we both wanted to be parents. Weeks of injections, which I dread. I even panic when I have to get a blood test or vaccine. Stopping the only migraine medication that has worked for me as it's not compatible with pregnancy, having a relapse on my migraines, not only because of stopping the meds, but also because of the hormonal injections. But it all seemed worth it. We also talked about the methods we might need. If they managed to stimulate my ovulation, either if we went for IUI or IVF, that's okay. But if there was no egg to be retrieved, we would need it to be a donor's. He started saying that genes don't matter, that it would still be my kid no matter what, and that it shouldn't matter. He also reminded me that we both wanted to be parents. That was the best choice as adoption can take just so many years. And we've also never been too fond of that option. In our country, national adoption isn't really an option, as the state wants to reunite families, if possible, so they only set up the families to foster the kids and not actually adopt them. A friend of mine had a foster sister from only a few months old until 12 years of age, and then they removed the foster kid from them because the biomom got sober, which of course shattered them. So yeah, he said if needed, we should go for the donor, and that he would do the same if roles were reversed. I agreed as I don't think DNA matters that much, but we decided to press pause on all of this as we had just gotten married, bought a house, etc., and needed to save up for the whole process. We resumed it at the beginning of this year, as we now have the money, and during the last 4 years of trying naturally, we haven't had a single positive pregnancy test. But my periods have regulated. Started to do the testing to see what was wrong with us, and apparently, I'm just so fertile and have the ovarian reserve of a 20-year-old. Him, on the other hand, has a complete azoospermia, which is quite rare. See, when males are infertile, they usually have abnormal spermatozoids, slow, no tails, or multiple tails, multiple heads, that aren't good enough to reach the egg, but can be used in IVF. He simply had none. This can be due to an obstruction or due to a lack of production, so he had to get a testicular biopsy to check if there was something salvageable from there. He nagged about having to get the biopsy, and I reminded him all I would have to go through, too. So he ended up getting it. Long story short, there's nothing to retrieve. His balls are completely dry. I thought this was annoying, but not a drama. I have eggs, and we could get a sperm donor. All of a sudden, he's completely opposed to the idea as he says he wouldn't be able to raise a child that's not his, and that's even offensive for me to ask him such a thing. I was just so shocked and reminded him we had this conversation years ago, and he said on multiple occasions that if roles were reversed, he would do it. So I didn't understand where this was all coming from. He told me he said that back then to cheer me up, but that obviously a real man wouldn't do it, and that it would be just too emasculating to raise some guy's jerk-off product. I was hurt and shocked to hear all of this and asked him to please think it through. A few weeks have passed, and he told me he still feels the same way and that it's not going to happen. I've told him if that's how he feels, I respect it, but I want to split up. As I don't need kids to live a happy and meaningful life, but I don't want to live with the regret of not having tried. He's all mad at me, calling me names and a liar for not caring about our vows, and all of the until death do us apart. I replied he also lied and has had me years thinking that we were on the same page with kids, and all of a sudden everything was fine, only if it meant me not being the biomom, but not the other way around. I feel like I'm right. I still love him and don't resent him, but this is not what I want for my life. I need to at least try, and then if it's not possible, I will be satisfied with the outcome and move on. My friends' opinions are split. Some say I'm right, and others say I'm being so mean for divorcing him over being infertile, and asking me if I would divorce him if he was terminally ill, too. I'm not divorcing him because of his condition, but because of the years of lying and not even wanting to consider doing himself what he expected me to do without a doubt.